In a quiet neighborhood, the sun rose slowly, casting golden rays on the pavement. It was a new day, but for Officer Davis, it felt like the beginning of a new life. As he put on his uniform, he glanced out the window. He had always loved being a cop, helping people, and keeping the community safe. But today was different. Today, he was about to make a decision that would change everything. For weeks, Officer Davis had noticed 6 girls living in a nearby house. They often played in the yard, their laughter echoing through the streets, but there was something about them that troubled him. They looked tired and worn, as if they carried the weight of the world on their small shoulders. He had seen the neglect, the torn clothes, the unkempt hair, and the sadness in their eyes. It broke his heart. One afternoon, as he was on patrol, he decided to stop and talk to them. He approached with a friendly smile. "Hi there, I'm Officer Davis. What are your names?" he asked, kneeling to their level. The girls looked up at him with wide eyes, unsure of what to say. Finally, the oldest, Tasha, spoke up. "I'm Tasha. These are my sisters, Maya, Rita, Zoe, Kim, and Leela." Officer Davis could see the bond they shared. Even though they seemed scared, they huddled close together, offering each other comfort. "You girls are brave for playing outside, but you should also be safe," he said gently. They nodded but didn't say anything more. Over the next few days, he found himself thinking about the girls often. He learned from neighbors that their family life was tough. Their parents were struggling with addiction, leaving the girls to fend for themselves. They rarely went to school, and when they did, they often showed up dirty and hungry. It pained him to think about it. He decided he could not just stand by. After much thought, he made a decision that surprised even himself. He wanted to adopt the girls. He knew it would be a huge responsibility, but he believed he could provide them with the love and stability they needed. He had always wanted a family, but he never imagined it would be like this. The thought filled him with both excitement and fear. Officer Davis contacted social services, explaining his wish to adopt the girls. The workers were skeptical at first. "You want to adopt 6 girls?" one asked, raising an eyebrow. "That's a big commitment for a single man." But Officer Davis was determined. He assured them he was ready to take on the challenge. Days turned into weeks as the paperwork was processed. Finally, the social worker called him with good news. "The girls can come live with you, but you'll need to prepare your home and yourself for this change." Officer Davis felt a rush of joy mixed with anxiety. He immediately started to make his home ready. He painted the spare rooms bright colors, bought new bedding, and filled the fridge with food. He even set up a play area in the backyard, filled with toys and games. He wanted the girls to feel welcomed and loved. The day the girls moved in, Officer Davis stood at the door, his heart racing. He was nervous, but he wanted to make a good impression. When the girls arrived, they looked around with wide eyes, taking in their new surroundings. Tasha clutched Maya's hand tightly. "Welcome home, girls," he said, his voice warm and inviting. "I hope you like it here. We're going to be a family now." The girls exchanged glances, unsure of how to respond. They were excited but also scared. Tasha finally spoke up. "Are you really going to take care of us?" "Of course," Officer Davis replied. "I'm here for you. You don't have to worry anymore. I'll do everything I can to keep you safe and happy." The girls nodded slowly, their faces softening. They could see the kindness in his eyes. That first night, as they settled into their new home, Officer Davis cooked dinner. He prepared their favorite meals, spaghetti and meatballs, garlic bread, and salad. As they ate together, he asked them about their favorite things. "What do you like to do for fun?" he inquired, looking at each of them. "I like to draw," Maya said shyly, her eyes downcast. "I love to sing," Zoe added, her voice barely above a whisper. "I like to play soccer," Kim chimed in, her excitement evident. With every answer, Officer Davis felt more hopeful. He encouraged them to express themselves, to share their dreams and desires. He promised to help them pursue their passions. As the weeks went by, the adjustment wasn't easy. The girls had moments of sadness, missing their old life. They often had nightmares, waking up screaming, afraid of being alone. Officer Davis was patient and understanding. He would sit with them, listen to their fears, and reassure them that they were safe now. Slowly, the house began to feel like a home. The girls started to open up more, sharing their stories and struggles. They laughed together, played games, and even made a family tradition of movie nights on Fridays. One day, while cleaning the attic, Officer Davis found old photo albums. He brought them down and gathered the girls around. "Look at these pictures," he exclaimed, flipping through the pages filled with memories of happier times. They laughed at the funny hairstyles and clothes, bonding over shared laughter. That night, as he tucked the girls into bed, Officer Davis felt a sense of fulfillment. He had made the right choice by bringing them into his life. They were starting to heal, and he knew that, together, they could create a new family filled with love and joy. As he turned off the lights and closed the door, Officer Davis couldn't help but smile. The journey ahead would be challenging, but he was ready. They were no longer just 6 girls. They were his daughters now. And together, they would face whatever came their way. The days turned into weeks, and the reality of their new life set in for Officer Davis and his 6 daughters. While there were moments of joy and laughter, challenges loomed large. Each girl carried her own burdens, and the adjustment to their new family was not as easy as they had hoped. Maya, the second oldest, often stayed quiet, lost in her thoughts. She missed her old life and the comfort of familiarity. The weight of her past sometimes felt heavy on her shoulders. One evening, as they sat around the dinner table, Officer Davis noticed her staring at her plate, pushing the food around. "Maya, is everything okay?" he asked gently. She looked up, her eyes glistening with tears. I miss my old friends. I don't know how to make new ones here." Officer Davis felt a pang in his heart. He understood how difficult it was for her. "Making friends takes time," he reassured her. "But you're not alone. We're a family now, and I'm here for you." That night, after the dishes were washed, Officer Davis sat with the girls in the living room. "Let's talk about our dreams," he said, hoping to lift their spirits. "What do you all want to be when you grow up?" Tasha spoke first, her voice full of determination. "I want to be a doctor." Zoe added, "I want to be a singer." Rita, who loved to dance, said, "I want to be a dancer on TV." One by one, the girls shared their dreams, and Officer Davis listened intently. He felt a surge of pride for each of them. "You all can achieve your dreams," he said, encouragingly. "I will help you in any way I can." However, as the days went by, it became clear that not all challenges were emotional. Financial struggles soon crept into their lives. Officer Davis had a decent salary, but raising 6 girls required a lot. There were school supplies, clothes, and food. One day, after paying the bills, he sat down with a calculator and looked at his bank account. He frowned. It was tight. He didn't want the girls to know they were struggling, but he couldn't shake the worry that gnawed at him. The next morning, as he got ready for work, he saw Maya sitting at the breakfast table, staring blankly. "Good morning, sweetheart." He greeted her cheerfully, but she didn't respond. He knew she was still feeling out of place. "Maya, would you like to help me with something today?" he asked, hoping to engage her. Her eyes lit up a bit. "What do you need?" "I need to check on some community programs for kids. Maybe we can find something fun for you or your sisters to do," he suggested. She nodded slowly. "Okay, I'll help." As they drove through the neighborhood, Officer Davis noticed a community center. "Let's check that out," he said, pulling into the parking lot. They stepped inside, and the warm atmosphere instantly lifted their spirits. Inside, they met Ms. Thompson, the community center director. "Welcome. How can I help you today?" she asked with a friendly smile. Officer Davis explained their situation and asked about programs for the girls. Ms. Thompson listened attentively. We have dance classes, art lessons, and even a tutoring program. I think your girls would love it here. The girls exchanged excited glances, and Officer Davis felt a wave of relief. This sounds amazing. How can we sign up? As they filled out the forms, Ms. Thompson added, and we have scholarships for families in need. Don't worry about the cost. Officer Davis felt a rush of gratitude. Thank you so much. This will mean a lot to us. Back at home, he shared the news with the girls. They jumped up and down, cheering and hugging one another. I can't wait to start dance lessons, Rita exclaimed. The next few weeks were filled with laughter and new experiences. The girls attended classes and learned new skills. Maya discovered a passion for painting, while Zoe began to find her voice in singing. Officer Davis was thrilled to see them flourish. But just as things seemed to settle, trouble brewed at school. One day, Tasha came home, her face pale and eyes red. Officer Davis noticed immediately. What happened, Tasha? He asked, concern flooding his voice. She took a deep breath. I got bullied at school today. Officer Davis felt his heart drop. I'm so sorry to hear that. What did they say? They called me names and said I didn't belong there because I was adopted, she admitted, her voice trembling. He knelt down to her level. Tasha, I want you to know that you are brave and strong. Those kids don't understand how special you are. Would you like me to come to school and talk to them? She shook her head. No, I don't want to make it worse. Then let's think of a plan together, he said gently. They talked about standing up for herself and how to handle bullies. Over the next few days, Officer Davis encouraged Tasha to be confident. He reminded her of the wonderful qualities she possessed and how much he believed in her. The following week, Tasha faced her bullies again. This time, she stood tall. You don't know me. I'm proud of who I am, she declared. Her voice was firm, and the bullies were taken aback. The news of her bravery spread, and soon she found support from other classmates. It was a turning point, not just for Tasha but for the entire family. They began to see the strength in their struggles. As the weeks turned into months, Officer Davis and the girls grew closer. They learned to lean on each other, facing challenges with courage and love. The road ahead was still uncertain, but they knew they would tackle it together as a family. And so, with each passing day, they began to build a life filled with hope, resilience, and the kind of love that can only come from truly caring for one another. The months rolled on, and as Officer Davis watched his daughters grow, he felt a sense of pride. The challenges they faced had only made their bond stronger. Each day, they discovered more about one another and themselves. They were not just surviving, they were thriving together. One evening, as they gathered for dinner, the table was filled with laughter and chatter. Maya had cooked a special dish, and the aroma filled the air. This is delicious, Zoe exclaimed, her eyes wide with delight. Yeah, Maya, you're turning into a chef, Rita added with a playful grin. Officer Davis looked at his daughters with a smile. You all are incredible. I'm so proud of what you've accomplished. Just then, the phone rang, interrupting their joyful moment. It was Ms. Thompson from the community center. Hi, Officer Davis. I hope you're well. I have some exciting news. What is it? He asked, curious. We're hosting a talent show next month, and I think your girls should participate. It would be a great opportunity for them to showcase their skills. The girls cheered at the idea, their eyes sparkling with excitement. Officer Davis could feel their energy fill the room. Absolutely. They'd love to be a part of it. What do we need to do? As Ms. Thompson explained the details, Officer Davis saw the enthusiasm in his daughters' faces. They were already discussing their acts before the call ended. Over the next few weeks, preparations for the talent show took over their household. Maya decided to paint a mural to display during the event. Zoe practiced her singing daily, while Rita choreographed a dance routine. Tasha, who had gained confidence from standing up to her bullies, wanted to perform a spoken-word piece about their journey as a family. "I want everyone to hear our story," she declared with determination. The girls practiced tirelessly. Some days, Officer Davis would come home from work and find them rehearsing in the living room, laughter and music spilling out into the hallway. He would join them, clapping along and offering encouragement. One evening, after a long day, he returned home to find the living room transformed into a stage. The girls had decorated with colorful streamers and lights. "Surprise!" they shouted in unison. "What's all this?" Officer Davis asked, feigning shock. "We're having a mini talent show for you," Maya said excitedly. Each girl took turns showcasing her talent. Zoe sang beautifully, filling the room with her sweet voice. Rita danced with grace and joy, while Maya revealed her artwork, a vibrant mural capturing their journey together. Finally, it was Tasha's turn. She took a deep breath and stood before her sisters. "This is our story," she began, her voice steady and strong. "We came from different places, but we found each other. No matter what people say, we are family." Tears welled in Officer Davis's eyes as he listened. He felt overwhelmed with pride and love. They had come so far together. When the mini talent show ended, the girls ran to him, their smiles radiant. "Did you like it, Dad?" Zoe asked eagerly. "I loved every moment." "You all are amazing," he said, pulling them into a tight hug. As the talent show approached, the excitement grew. Officer Davis encouraged the girls to practice daily, reminding them to stay confident. He also spoke to their teachers at school, ensuring they had support from their peers. The day of the talent show arrived, and the community center buzzed with energy. Families filled the seats, and the stage was adorned with colorful lights. Officer Davis could feel the butterflies in his stomach as he watched his daughters backstage, whispering words of encouragement to one another. When it was their turn to perform, Tasha led them on stage. "We are the Davis sisters, and we are here to share our story with you," she announced boldly. The audience clapped, and the lights shone brightly on the girls as they began their performance. Zoe sang a heartfelt song that resonated with the crowd. Rita followed, showcasing her dance moves with incredible energy. Then Maya displayed her mural, explaining its significance while the audience admired her artistry. Finally, it was time for Tasha to share her spoken-word piece. The room grew quiet as she began, her voice clear and powerful. "We may have been unwanted once, but now we are here together. We are a family, and no one can take that away from us." The audience erupted in applause, and Officer Davis felt a swell of emotion. The girls had poured their hearts into their performance, and it showed. As they left the stage, the girls were met with cheers and congratulations. They embraced each other tightly, overwhelmed with joy. Ms. Thompson approached them, beaming. "You all did an incredible job. I'm so proud of you." Officer Davis watched his daughters celebrate, feeling a sense of fulfillment. They had turned their struggles into strength, and their love for one another shone brightly. As they drove home that night, the stars twinkled above them. The car was filled with chatter about their performance and plans for the future. "Next year, we should do a bigger show," Maya suggested, her excitement contagious. "I can write more poems," Tasha added. "Let's keep practicing," Zoe chimed in, her voice full of enthusiasm. Officer Davis smiled, his heart swelling with pride. "Whatever you want to do, I'll be there to support you. You are all extraordinary, and I believe in each of you." Their laughter echoed in the night, and Officer Davis knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The bond they had created was unbreakable, and the journey they had embarked upon was just the beginning of a beautiful story. As the days turned into weeks, life for Officer Davis and his daughters settled into a comforting routine. The girls thrived in school, and their bond grew stronger with each shared experience. They faced the world together, learning and laughing as they went. One Saturday morning, Officer Davis gathered his daughters for a family meeting. "Okay, girls, I think we should do something special today," he said, a smile playing on his lips. "What do you have in mind?" Zoe asked, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. "We're going to volunteer at the local shelter," he announced. The girls looked at each other, intrigued. "Volunteering?" Maya questioned. "What will we do there?" "You'll help serve food, clean up, and spend time with the kids," he explained. "It'll be a good experience for us to give back to the community." The girls exchanged excited glances. "That sounds fun," Rita exclaimed. After breakfast, they headed to the shelter, where a warm, bustling atmosphere welcomed them. As they entered, they were greeted by Ms. Johnson, the shelter manager. "It's so wonderful to see you all here. We can always use extra hands," she said, beaming. Officer Davis and his daughters got to work right away. They helped prepare meals, serving hot soup and sandwiches to the families who came in. As the girls moved about, they noticed the different faces of those who visited the shelter. Some were smiling, while others looked weary. Zoe approached a little girl sitting alone at a table. "Hi there. I'm Zoe," she said cheerfully. "What's your name?" "Leela," the girl replied quietly, looking up with big, sad eyes. "Do you want to join us for lunch?" Zoe offered, her kindness shining through. Lila nodded shyly and followed Zoe to the food line. Meanwhile, Maya and Rita worked alongside Officer Davis, filling plates with food and chatting with the guests. They listened to stories of struggle and resilience, each tale reminding them of their own journey. As they served the meals, Tasha took the opportunity to engage with the children, telling them about their recent talent show. "You should have seen us. We sang, danced, and told our story," she said animatedly. A boy named Jason perked up at her words. "I love singing. Can I sing with you?" he asked eagerly. "Of course," Tasha replied. "How about after lunch? We can have our own little concert." The children cheered at the idea, their spirits lifting. Officer Davis watched, proud of his daughters for reaching out and spreading joy. After the meal, the group gathered in a small room for Tasha's impromptu concert. The children sat on the floor, eyes wide with excitement. Tasha stood up front, her heart racing, but she felt confident. She started singing the sweet, uplifting song that spoke of hope and friendship. As her voice filled the room, the other girls joined in, creating a harmony that resonated beautifully. The children clapped along, their laughter and smiles lighting up the space. When the performance ended, the kids erupted into applause, their faces glowing with happiness. "You're amazing," Jason shouted, grinning from ear to ear. "Thank you. You all are great, too," Tasha beamed. Afterward, Officer Davis gathered the girls, beaming with pride. "You've made such a difference today. I'm so proud of you all for sharing your gifts," he said. On their drive home, the girls chattered excitedly about their experiences at the shelter. "I can't believe how happy the kids were," Maya said. "We should do this more often." "I agree. We should make it a monthly thing," Zoe added enthusiastically. Officer Davis nodded, a warm feeling in his chest. "I'm glad you all enjoyed it. Helping others is an important part of who we are now." However, amidst the joy, Officer Davis noticed Tasha sitting quietly in the backseat. "What's on your mind, Tasha?" he asked gently. "I love singing with the kids, but sometimes I wonder if we'll always be accepted," she confessed, her voice soft. "What if people don't understand us?" Officer Davis felt a pang in his heart. He remembered how the girls had struggled in the past. "Tasha, we may face challenges, but we have each other. Our love and support can overcome anything," he assured her. "You've all proven that by embracing your journey together." As they reached home, Tasha smiled, comforted by her father's words. "You're right, Dad. We're a family, and we can face anything together." That night, after their usual family dinner, the girls gathered in the living room for a movie night. They laughed and teased each other, creating new memories as they watched their favorite film. But as they settled in, Officer Davis couldn't shake the feeling that challenges were still lurking. The world outside their home was not always kind, and he worried about how his daughters would navigate it. The next day at school, as they walked through the halls, the girls felt a sense of unity. They had each other, and that made them feel strong. However, their confidence would soon be tested in unexpected ways. While Maya and Zoe were chatting by their lockers, they overheard a group of students whispering nearby. "Look at them. Why would anyone adopt those girls?" One of them sneered. The words stung, and Maya felt a wave of anger wash over her. But before she could react, Zoe squeezed her hand. "Ignore them," she whispered. "We know who we are." Later, during lunch, the tension in the air was palpable. Tasha sat with her sisters, but she noticed a boy named Ethan staring at them. He was the same boy who had laughed during their talent show. Gathering her courage, she decided to confront him. "Why do you keep looking at us?" Tasha asked, her heart racing. Ethan shrugged, a smirk on his face. "I just don't get why you'd want to be adopted by a cop. It's kind of lame." Officer Davis had always taught them to stand up for themselves, and Tasha remembered his words. "You don't know us," she replied, her voice firm. "We're a family, and that's what matters." As the words left her mouth, she felt a surge of strength. The other girls rallied behind her, standing tall as they faced the whispering crowd. In that moment, they understood that while challenges would come, their bond was unshakable. They had each other's backs, and together, they would continue to rise above the negativity around them. In the days that followed, Officer Davis noticed a shift in his daughters. They seemed more confident, even in the face of adversity. Their bond had fortified, and they understood that they could weather any storm together. One evening, as they gathered for dinner, Officer Davis decided it was time for a heart-to-heart conversation. "I've been so proud of how you've all been handling things at school," he began. "It shows your strength." Zoe looked up from her plate, a thoughtful expression on her face. "Thanks, Dad. It's just hard sometimes. People don't understand our story." "I know it can be tough," he replied. "But you should always remember that you are incredible individuals. Your past doesn't define you. It's how you choose to move forward that matters." Tasha nodded. "I think we should share our story more. Maybe we can start a blog or something to let people know who we really are." The girls excitedly discussed the idea, each suggesting topics and experiences to share. They wanted to create a platform where they could express their thoughts and connect with others. Officer Davis encouraged them, proud of their desire to embrace their identity and share their journey. Over the next few weeks, they dedicated time to creating their blog, The Davis Sisters. They wrote about their experiences, shared personal stories, and even included tips on resilience and self-love. Their blog gained traction, and soon they were connecting with people from all walks of life. Readers left messages of support and gratitude, sharing their own stories of overcoming challenges. One day, they received a message from a girl named Emma, who wrote about her struggles with bullying. "Your story inspired me to stand up for myself," she wrote. "Thank you for sharing." The girls were touched. They responded, encouraging her to stay strong and reminding her that she was not alone. As their blog continued to grow, Officer Davis noticed a change in his daughters. They were more confident, more engaged, and eager to make a difference. They realized they had a voice, and they wanted to use it. One afternoon, while they were brainstorming ideas for their blog, Maya had a suggestion. "What if we start a support group for kids who feel alone? We can meet at the community center." The other girls jumped at the idea, thrilled at the prospect of creating a safe space for others. Officer Davis wholeheartedly supported the initiative, helping them organize their first meeting. On the day of the meeting, the community center buzzed with anticipation. The girls set up chairs in a circle and decorated the space with positive affirmations. They wanted everyone to feel welcomed and safe. As the time approached, they nervously glanced at one another. "Do you think anyone will come?" Rita asked, her voice tinged with doubt. Of course they will. We just have to be ourselves, Zoe reassured her. When the first kids started to arrive, Officer Davis stood by, proud of his daughters. They welcomed each newcomer with warm smiles, making sure everyone felt included. Once everyone was settled, Tasha introduced the group. Welcome to our support group. We're the Davis sisters, and we're here to share, listen, and help each other. No one should feel alone. The atmosphere felt warm and inviting. The kids began to open up, sharing their stories of struggle and resilience. As the discussions flowed, Officer Davis watched in awe as his daughters facilitated the conversation with grace and empathy. Days turned into weeks, and their support group flourished. They created a strong sense of community, and kids began to find comfort in one another. Officer Davis felt a sense of fulfillment, knowing that his daughters were making a real difference in the lives of others. However, amid the positive changes, Tasha began to feel the weight of the world on her shoulders. She had always been the one to keep everyone uplifted, but recently, doubts began to creep in. One evening, after the group meeting, she found herself sitting alone in her room, feeling overwhelmed. She opened her laptop and began typing her thoughts into a private document. I'm scared. Sometimes I feel like I have to be strong for everyone, but I don't know if I can keep it up. Officer Davis, sensing something was off, gently knocked on her door and entered. Hey, Tasha. Mind if I join you? She looked up, her heart heavy. Sure, Dad. As he sat beside her, he could see the distress in her eyes. What's going on, sweetheart? I feel like I have to be the strong one for everyone, but sometimes I just want to be myself. I'm scared of letting anyone down, she confessed, her voice breaking. Officer Davis wrapped an arm around her shoulders. Tasha, it's okay to feel vulnerable. You don't always have to carry the weight of the world. You're allowed to express your feelings, and you don't have to do it alone. His words brought her comfort. I just want to help everyone, but I feel so much pressure. You're already helping just by being you. It's okay to ask for help, too. We're all here for one another, remember? He replied gently. Tasha nodded, feeling a sense of relief wash over her. Thanks, Dad. I just needed to hear that. As they sat in silence, Officer Davis realized that despite the challenges they faced, his daughters were learning and growing every day. They were discovering their strengths, building their identities, and embracing their journey together. As the school year continued, the support group blossomed, and Tasha found strength in her sisters and friends. They became a beacon of hope for other kids in need, but the challenges were far from over. One day, while walking home from school, the girls overheard a group of older students laughing and pointing at them. Look at those girls. Why does a cop even want to adopt them? One of them sneered. Rita's fists clenched, but before she could react, Tasha placed a calming hand on her arm. Let it go. We know who we are, she said firmly. As they walked on, Maya turned to her sisters. We can't let their words get to us. We're stronger than that. Their confidence wavered, but they kept moving forward. At home, Officer Davis noticed the change in their mood. Hey, girls. You okay? We're fine, Dad, Zoe replied, forcing a smile. Listen, if anyone is bothering you at school, you need to tell me. We can handle it together, he said, concern etched on his face. Later that week, during a group meeting at the community center, Tasha brought up the situation. I think we need to find a way to show everyone that we're proud of who we are. We can't let negativity hold us back, she said, her voice strong. Maybe we can host an event to celebrate diversity, Maya suggested. We can invite everyone and share our stories, talents, and experiences. The girls rallied behind the idea, excited to create a space for acceptance. They began brainstorming, envisioning an event that would unite their community and spread positivity. After weeks of planning, the day of the event arrived. The community center was adorned with colorful decorations, and tables were set up to display the girls' artwork and share their blog posts. They even invited local artists to showcase their talents. As guests began to arrive, Officer Davis stood proudly beside his daughters. The atmosphere buzzed with excitement and anticipation. When it was time for the opening ceremony, Tasha took the stage, her heart racing. "Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you could join us today. We want to celebrate our differences and remind everyone that love and acceptance matter." The crowd erupted in applause, and Officer Davis felt his heart swell with pride. Throughout the day, the girls took turns sharing their stories, performing songs, and showcasing their artwork. They spoke openly about their journey, emphasizing the importance of love and unity. One young girl named Sophia approached Zoe during the event. "You inspire me. I always feel different, but you make me want to be brave," she said, her eyes shining. "Thank you, Sophia. You're incredible just as you are. Always remember that," Zoe replied warmly. As the event continued, it became a celebration of community and love. The girls felt a sense of belonging they hadn't experienced before. However, not everyone was supportive. A few kids from school stood at the back, arms crossed and frowns on their faces. Officer Davis noticed them but remained focused on the event. At one point, Tasha caught sight of them whispering and laughing. "They're not here for support," she said quietly to her sisters. "They'll never understand us," Rita replied, her voice tinged with frustration. Officer Davis overheard their conversation and stepped in. "Girls, remember, not everyone will accept us, and that's okay. What matters is that we support one another and stand proud together." Feeling encouraged, Tasha took a deep breath and returned to the stage. "We're here to show everyone that love is stronger than hate," she declared confidently. "Together, we can overcome anything." The crowd erupted in applause, and Officer Davis felt immense pride in his daughter's bravery. They had chosen to face adversity with love and unity, inspiring others to do the same. As the event wrapped up, many attendees approached the girls, thanking them for their courage and authenticity. The negative energy from before began to fade, replaced by a sense of community and acceptance. Later that evening, as the family gathered for dinner, Officer Davis smiled at his daughters. "You all did an incredible job today. I'm so proud of you for sharing your story and spreading positivity." Zoe beamed. "I think we made a difference. I feel like we can really change things." "Absolutely," Tasha added. "We just need to keep being ourselves and showing others that love wins." As spring turned to summer, Officer Davis and his daughters continued to thrive as a family. Their bond had grown stronger, and they faced the world with newfound confidence. The support group had become a staple in their lives, offering a safe haven for kids who felt different. One warm evening, as they sat on the porch enjoying ice cream, Maya turned to her sisters. "I think we should plan a summer camp for the kids of the shelter," she suggested excitedly. "We can teach them arts and crafts and have fun activities." Officer Davis loved the idea. "That sounds fantastic. I'll help you plan it. We can create an unforgettable experience for them." Over the next few weeks, the girls worked tirelessly to prepare for the camp. They designed activities, organized supplies, and even reached out to local businesses for donations. The community's response was overwhelming, and they quickly gathered everything they needed to make the camp a success. On the day of the camp, the community center was transformed into a vibrant space, filled with laughter and excitement. Kids from the shelter arrived, their faces beaming with joy as they entered. Officer Davis welcomed the kids and explained the day's activities. "Today is all about having fun, making friends, and learning new things." As the camp kicked off, Tasha led the first activity, a group art project where everyone could express themselves. The kids gathered around, eagerly picking up paintbrushes and creating beautiful murals on large canvases. Meanwhile, Maya and Zoe organized a talent show, encouraging the kids to share their skills. They cheered and clapped for every performance, fostering an atmosphere of support and celebration. Rita, always the dancer, led a dance session, teaching everyone some simple moves that brought smiles and laughter. As the day unfolded, Officer Davis watched proudly as his daughters connected with the kids, fostering an environment of joy and acceptance. He saw how far they had come, not only as individuals but also as a family. At the end of the day, the kids gathered for a closing circle. Tasha took the lead, her voice filled with emotion. "Thank you all for joining us today. We hope you had fun and felt welcomed. Remember, you're never alone. We're all here for each other." With that, the kids erupted in applause, feeling the love and unity surrounding them. As they packed up, Officer Davis pulled his daughters close. "You all did an amazing job today. You're making a real difference in these kids' lives." Rita smiled brightly. "I can't believe how much joy we brought them." "We've learned so much about love and support," Zoe added, "and it feels good to give back." As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the community center, Officer Davis realized that the journey they had embarked on was not just about healing from their past, but about creating a future filled with hope, love, and unity. Together, they had transformed their lives and the lives of others, proving that love truly conquers all. As summer progressed, Officer Davis and his daughters continued to organize various events for the community. The success of the summer camp inspired them to keep creating opportunities for connection and support. They decided to host monthly workshops focusing on different themes such as self-esteem, creativity, and resilience. The community embraced these events, and the attendance grew with each gathering. Kids who had once felt isolated began to find friendship and acceptance within the group. The support they offered each other became a lifeline, and Officer Davis felt a deep sense of pride seeing his daughters grow into confident leaders. However, as the fall approached, the reality of their journey set in. One day, while cleaning out the attic, Tasha stumbled upon a box filled with old photographs. Each picture told a story, capturing moments from their lives before Officer Davis adopted them. The memories stirred feelings of nostalgia and sadness. She called her sisters over. "Look at these," she exclaimed, spreading the photos on the floor. Rita picked up a picture of them at the shelter, their faces full of uncertainty. "Wow, we've come a long way," she said softly. Zoe examined a photo of their first family dinner. "I remember how scared I was that night," she recalled. "But Dad made us laugh." Officer Davis, who had just walked in, overheard them. He smiled warmly, feeling grateful for how far they had all come together. "You girls were so brave. It takes courage to face a new beginning." That evening, they sat together as a family, reminiscing about their past and discussing how much they had changed. Tasha spoke up. "I think we should share our story with others. We can show them that even difficult beginnings can lead to beautiful endings." The idea ignited a spark of excitement within the group. They decided to create a video series documenting their journey, highlighting their struggles, triumphs, and the love that had helped them heal. Each sister would share her perspective, and they would intertwine their stories to show the power of unity and family. As they began filming, they learned to articulate their feelings and experiences. Maya, who had once been shy, found her voice as she discussed her passion for art and how it had helped her heal. Rita shared her journey through dance, explaining how it became a source of strength for her. Zoe and Tasha also spoke about their fears and aspirations, creating a heartfelt narrative that resonated deeply. The response to their videos was overwhelming. Viewers from all walks of life reached out, expressing how much their stories touched them. Comments flooded in, sharing personal experiences of resilience and hope. One day, as they were reading comments together, Officer Davis entered the room with a big smile. "I just got off the phone with a local news station. They want to do a feature on you girls and your inspiring story." The sisters exchanged excited glances. "Really?" Zoe gasped, her eyes wide with disbelief. "Yes, they want to highlight your community work and how you've transformed lives," he explained. As the news crew arrived days later, the girls felt a mix of nerves and excitement. They were determined to convey their message of hope and healing to a broader audience. During the interview, Tasha spoke passionately about the importance of love and community support. Everyone has a story, and it's essential to create a space where we can share and uplift one another, she said. The segment aired, and soon their story reached thousands of viewers. People began to reach out, wanting to support their initiatives. Donations poured in, allowing them to expand their programs and help even more kids in need. With the newfound support, Officer Davis and his daughters were able to organize larger community events, providing scholarships, school supplies, and resources for families in need. The girls worked diligently, utilizing their platform to advocate for change and inspire hope. As the holidays approached, they planned a special event, a community celebration to spread joy and unity. They invited everyone, ensuring no one felt left out during the festive season. On the day of the event, the community center was transformed into a winter wonderland, filled with lights, decorations, and laughter. Families gathered, sharing meals, exchanging gifts, and participating in fun activities. As they looked around at the smiles on everyone's faces, Officer Davis felt a wave of gratitude. "You girls have made such a difference," he said, embracing each of them. "You've turned pain into purpose." Rita grinned, her heart full. It feels incredible to see everyone come together. As the evening came to a close, Tasha took the stage, her heart swelling with pride. "Thank you all for being here tonight. We've learned that love and support can change lives. Let's continue to lift each other up." The crowd erupted in applause, and Officer Davis beamed with pride. His daughters had not only found their voices, but also inspired an entire community to embrace love, acceptance, and unity. In the months that followed, the support group continued to thrive, evolving into a network of young leaders. The girls learned that their journey was not just about their own healing, but about creating a legacy of hope for others. As they stood together, hand in hand, they knew that no matter the challenges ahead, they would face them united. Their story would continue, one of strength, resilience, and the unbreakable bond of family. Together, they had turned their struggles into a powerful narrative of hope, showing the world that love conquers all. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the community center, Officer Davis and his daughters stood together on the stage. The excitement from the holiday event lingered in the air, but it was time for one last moment that would solidify their journey. Rita, filled with energy, stepped forward. "We want to share something special with all of you." She grinned, gesturing for her sisters to join her. Zoe held a large banner they had made together, adorned with words of hope and love. It read, "Together we rise. The power of family and community." Tasha took a deep breath, her heart pounding. "This banner represents our journey, and we want it to symbolize something bigger. It's not just about us. It's about everyone here and the strength we share as a community." Officer Davis, his eyes shining with pride, added, "Tonight, we invite all of you to sign this banner. Each name will remind us that we are stronger together, no matter our past. We can build a future full of love and support." As the crowd erupted in cheers, families moved forward, eager to add their names. Laughter filled the air, and the atmosphere buzzed with excitement. The girls watched as their friends, neighbors, and even those they had never met came together, sharing stories and writing their names on the banner. After some time, the banner began to fill with signatures. Officer Davis felt a swell of pride in his heart as he saw how many lives they had touched. He realized that this was more than just a piece of fabric. It was a testament to resilience, unity, and love. When the last name was added, Tasha stepped back, her voice breaking through the cheers. "Let's hang this banner in our community center as a reminder that we can always lift each other up." As the crowd applauded, Officer Davis hung the banner above the stage, where it would remain a permanent fixture, a symbol of hope and togetherness. Later that evening, as the stars twinkled above, the girls gathered outside with their father. They looked up at the night sky, feeling a sense of peace wash over them. Rita turned to Officer Davis, her voice full of gratitude. "Thank you for believing in us and for being there every step of the way. We couldn't have done this without you." Zoe nodded in agreement. "You showed us the true meaning of family and love." Officer Davis smiled, pulling them into a warm embrace. "You girls are my greatest achievement. You've not only transformed your lives, but have inspired countless others. This journey we've taken together has been incredible, and I'm so proud of each of you." As they stood there, wrapped in love and support, Tasha gazed at the banner one last time. "This is just the beginning," she whispered. "We have so much more to do, so many more lives to touch." Officer Davis squeezed their hands tightly, feeling their determination. "Together, we'll keep making a difference. This community is our family, and we'll always be there for each other." With that promise hanging in the air, the family turned toward the community center, ready to embrace the future. Together, they had overcome the odds, transforming their lives through love, support, and unity. As they walked inside, laughter and music echoed behind them. The legacy of love they had created would continue to thrive, reminding everyone that even the darkest past can lead to a bright and hopeful future. With hearts full of hope and eyes set on the horizon, they stepped into a new chapter, ready to face whatever came next, together as one.